It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Welcome to Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne. We are back in the car. It feels great to be back in the car. I'm joined by two entrepreneurs today. To my right, it is Mikey K of Fire and Smoke Barbecue Company. That food truck, is that a truck or is that a war wagon? What am I looking at out there?
It's a food trailer.
So food trailer.
We chose to go a food trailer over a food truck because if my truck breaks down, I can always get another one and still make the event.
You're a wise man. That's why you're a successful entrepreneur. In the back seat, it is Mike Pallen. He is the titular Mike of Mikerphone Brewing, which is where we're at right now in Elk Grove Village. I mean, Mike, pulling up to this place, there were people parking like 2 blocks down. It was like pulling up to a concert festival, like seeing people come out of their cars wearing Mikerphone T-shirts, no less. It was like Elk Grove Village's version of Lollapalooza, people coming out to Mikerphone today.
Yeah, it's pretty insane considering that we're tucked back in the middle of this industrial park. You would never believe that people would be coming out here to drink beer.
That's what's great about it. It's kind of like a modern speakeasy feel.
For sure.
Like, you got to know the right way to get there and the right passage, and then boom, there you are. It's beer utopia. It's music utopia. Yep. So, Fire and Smoke Barbecue Company, the trailer's right in front of us. More importantly, the food is right in front of us. Right here.
I'm telling you, you need like a little dash tray.
Dude, I need so much.
The internet has to make one. Someone out there in the internet world.
This is the thing that caught my eye the second I saw it on your menu. By the way, your food trailer, just walking by, you know those cartoons in the old days where you'd see the character walking down a hall and then scent fingers would come from like a kitchen or something? They'd hook the person by the nose and pull them along?
For sure.
Yep.
That's what happened when
That's why I'm kind of hoping his truck does break down so his trailer just has to sit here all day.
So this is pulled pork mac and cheese.
Yep, that is our pulled pork mac. So what we do is we take our heavy mac and cheese, put it right on the bottom, top it with a little bit of pulled pork, and then drizzle some of our barbecue sauce on it. And most people tend to like it.
You want to go with the word drizzle there? I think you ladled that on there.
That was just a drizzle.
And that
is our chopped brisket. The reason we chop it is because most people don't know the difference between lean and fatty brisket, and I want to give you both. I want to make sure you get both that flavor inside of it.
Here is the porkless mac and cheese.
And that's just our regular mac and cheese. And then I gave you a little bit of cornbread right on the side because everyone likes cornbread.
Delicious. All right, Mike, since you are really the host, you're the hospitality person today, take what you want.
I'll go with this little brisket.
You want the brisket?
Yeah.
There you go.
Buddy. Thank you.
You want the cornbread?
I'm good right now. This is perfect.
Okay. I've got to try.
You can try it all.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And I knew better. I saw the menu, and we'd been communicating. I skipped breakfast. There's strategy around barbecue.
Yes, it's a little bit heavy of a food.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here for your waistline in any way, shape, or form.
No. No, sir. Was cooking always your calling?
I think it should have been. I bounced around doing some other stuff in life, but I always kind of felt back to the kitchen, fell back to the kitchen in a sense. And it just feels like home.
Right.
If that makes sense, you know what I mean? I enjoy being in the kitchen. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy feeding people most. I think that's the biggest thing is when you feed somebody and then you see their reaction to the food, that's really what keeps you going.
All right, well, I'm about to keep you going then.
Yeah, let's see it.
It's so tender. The pork is so tender. The sauce has a little bit of a kick.
A little bit, yes. It has a little bit of a peppery kick to it.
And it sneaks up on you, and it's really good. But I love the combination of sauce, pork, and mac. So here we go.
Yeah, this is like butter back here.
It's sweet, it's hot, it's creamy. And again, the tender pork makes this. Oh, this is trouble. And it's also heavenly. This is a cause for concern. And so, Mikey, you've been doing these pop-ups. You partner up with breweries. This weekend, you're here at Mikerphone. That's a great business strategy because people drinking awesome beer want to eat awesome food.
Well, the thing is, they don't have kitchens, right? So we kind of looked at a need where it's like they they want people to still eat food, because if you have a little bit of food in your stomach, you might, have an extra beer or two. So then they're going to make a little bit more money. The people are going to be a little happier. They'll stay a little bit longer, and it just it works well for both of us. It's a win-win, and I think that's one of the most important things is making business decisions that are win-win for everyone involved. Because when it goes too one-sided, you tend not to win in business.
100%. My expertise was, brewing, not running a kitchen.
Right.
And so I never wanted to take that on. I've learned from other places that have a kitchen, like, hiring is a nightmare, inventory is a nightmare. So I didn't want to take that on, and this just became this perfect relationship.
It really is symbiotic. Mike, tell us about the brisket.
It is straight up butter. It is just melting in my mouth as it goes down. It's tender, it's juicy. You got, like you said, a little bit of that fat. It's dynamite.
So, Mikey, how long does it take to smoke your briskets?
So our briskets go anywhere between about 13 to 15 hours, depending on the size of brisket that we get that day. And the cow has a big part of it. Some briskets get to tender a little bit faster. Some briskets take a little bit longer, but anywhere from about 13 to 15 hours is what we run our briskets for. And then our pulled pork we run for about 13 hours also.
I love barbecue.
Me too.
True story, this podcast started as a barbecue podcast. 8 years ago, I just wanted to go to different barbecue places and eat barbecue and talk about it.
It could be worse, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's the perfect food. And not surprising, as we're sitting out here, again, the Fire and Smoke Barbecue Company food trailer is right in front of us. Burnt ends went like that. Gone.
They go quickly, especially at a place like Mikerphone.
I always miss.
You always miss. They're usually gone in the first 15 to 25 minutes of us opening our doors. And that's, we bring a lot of food. So it just moves quickly. It's something that we're really known for is our pork belly burnt ends. So if you want them, you got to get there early. We always get people that are like, we'll make more. I'm like, get here earlier.
Yeah. And you should probably explain what burnt ends are.
So there's burnt ends, or your traditional burnt ends, come from the point of the brisket, right? We do something a little bit different. What we do is we take the pork belly, which is the cut that you get bacon from. We take that whole pork belly, we cube it up, we season it, and then it goes into the smoker. Once it develops a nice crust around it, and it kind of gets a little squishy, we take that and then we put it into a pan, and then we drizzle the barbecue sauce over it. And when I say drizzle, we ladle the barbecue sauce over it to make sure that it gets this nice caramelization around it. And it goes back into the smoker, sits in there for about another hour and a half until it's perfect, and then we pull it and it comes with us. So we do a pork belly burnt end, which is not necessarily a traditional burnt end, but we're in Chicago, so I can change some of the barbecue rules.
I got to be honest, I don't even want to interview you guys anymore. I just want to eat this. I'm listening to what you're saying. I swear I am, Mikey. I just want to go off in a corner and shovel this in my mouth.
You're going to listen when you edit all this, right? You're going to be like, oh, I forgot he said that.
It's funny. COVID afforded me a ton of time, and so I got a Masterbuilt 560 charcoal gravity smoker. I've been dabbling, and I'm getting better and better, but when you come out and you try Mike's stuff, it's just like, it just blows you away, and you really appreciate how skilled their team is and what they do, and it's dynamite.
I feel the same way about you and beer.
I was about to say, I'm sure home brewers walk in the door here, go in the tasting room, they're like, fuck, I give up. I'm out.
I thought I knew what I was doing, but there it goes. There everything goes.
I gave it a good shot.
Yeah.
I had a good run. So we're recording this in mid-July. We're recording this on Saturday the 17th. Obviously, the past year was awful for everybody. Respective to your two businesses, are you able to exhale now, or is there still much to be done just to kind of refine your footing? I'll let you go first, Mike.
I think for a lot of us in the food industry, we're still not at exhale. We're still at trying to come back from where we were. I know some places, did a little bit better. Some places did a little worse. For a business model like I run, it was a little bit harder. Breweries couldn't bring people in, so I couldn't sit there and sell them food. But there's a lot of different things that are going around right now, like staffing issues, making sure that we bring enough food. Now, a lot of the events are starting to get bigger and bigger because a lot of people are sick of sitting at home and they're starting to get out, which is fantastic. So
a lot of people are sick of sitting at home to the point where I think I got here like 2 hours early. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to Mikerphone. I'm going to hang out with Fire and Smoke.
Done.
I'll just sit in the car and wait. I'm good.
Yeah, we're getting on bigger fests. Fests are starting to come back, which is fantastic. Which means we can start making some real money and start moving some barbecue out the door.
I love it. Tell me about Mikerphone.
Yeah, it was funny when we heard that we had to kind of shut down for a little bit. We panicked. We're like, all right, let's not brew any beer that's going to go out. Let's just make a bunch of barrel aged beer. And then the next day, people were lining up to load up their refrigerators at home because they knew they couldn't go anywhere. And we were like, whoa, all right. So we
And they
started
don't want to
making.
sit at home sober.
Yeah, we made way more beer than we ever anticipated making last year. But the transition now is that people probably still have a refrigerator at home stocked full of cans and bottles. So you're seeing that more people are going out and drinking draft, going out to restaurants, going here even drinking draft. And it's just, again, it's continuously adapting and adjusting, which I'm getting sick of saying that word and that phrase. But we have to. I mean, we're trying to see every week, what does it mean? Who's coming out? What are they doing? What are the consumer habits right now? And it's still nowhere it was in 2019, but we're getting closer and closer every week.
I got to be honest with you, Mike. I'm sitting here waiting to get everything going. I'm watching people walk out of the brewery, and it looked like they were looting the place. I mean, people are carrying out, cases of beer. I mean, cans and the bottles. I mean, it looked like they were stocking up for in survival mode. Like that's what people do when they come here. They don't just buy one or two things. They want to load up because they love your stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we actually had a really cool week of releases. We did 2 barrel-aged beer releases, a collaboration with a special glass that came out, a super expensive hand-blown glass.
Oh, I saw that.
And he's actually here on site right now selling other glasses too. And it was just a really good week, and I think people wanted to come back out and hang out. And the weather's been a huge factor for us because you have a lot of people that still want to sit outside, don't want to sit indoors.
Yeah,
so
it's
if
not too
raining,
hot. The sun's out.
Today is perfect.
Perfect.
Today is a perfect day. And I can say that I've been up since, I believe, 1 a.m.
Oh, my
That's
God.
the time we started the smoker.
Which makes sense. You said how long it takes to make a brisket.
We got her going. And it was a beautiful night also.
And one of the many things we love about Mikerphone, the music aspect. I mean, I walked in today, the first thing I heard was Screeching Weasel. I'm like, shit, this is why you don't go to the neighborhood sports bar. This is why you come to Mikerphone.
So you want to hear something crazy that happened to us today with going along with the music? I don't know if you guys were listening to the same damn playlist as we were at the exact same time, but literally I got out of my car and it was the exact same song playing.
Wow.
So, exact same song, and I was like, how did this happen?
That's crazy.
How are we exactly in sync?
Because it's pretty eclectic. I let the taste room staff pick and choose the music they want to play. And, we've got 2 separate zones. So the back of house has their own music when the brewers are there. Front of house has their own music for consumers. And depending on who gets there first and who picks the music, it is different every day.
I love
my
that.
taste room manager, Jimmy's been on a Miley Cyrus kick. So you might have Miley Cyrus radio on one day.
It was
Next
not Miley
day-
Cyrus, I'll
No.
tell you that.
I think today is like Newfound Glory or something like that. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because I had AFI in my car, and that's what was playing when I got out. And I
That
was
makes
like,
sense, yeah.
I was like, oh my god! But I'm like, what are the shots that AFI is playing in my truck, and and at the place I'm coming up to?
I love it.
Well, Mike, talk a little bit about the music aspect, or just how that is important to your overall, the naming of the beers, just everything you do, the walls, which are covered in records.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I love music. My parents had 2 totally different styles. My dad would be driving us around and blasting Meatloaf. My mom was listening to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. But I always loved music, and I actually sang in choir and actually played some medals at state competitions and stuff like that. And I always knew I loved music, but I wasn't as great of a musician as some of my friends around me. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get into the management and marketing side of things. And I came down from Wisconsin to Chicago and started repping for Aware Records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they had John Mayer and Matt Carney and a few other bands at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got a job in the industry doing sitting in between Fortune 500 companies and consumers, and the way to bring those two together was through our eyes was music. And so we'd concept these really cool digital platforms. Consumer would buy a product, get a code to enter on a website, and unlock music downloads and a special streaming radio station and chances to meet the artist or win signed up memorabilia. So my job was to go out and license all that music and negotiate these deals. And then as that company kind of transitioned, I went over to work at School of Rock and did marketing for School of Rock, both at the schools here in the U.S. and then overseas as well.
Oh, wow.
But in the background it was making beer, and my dad worked at Miller Brewing in Milwaukee when I was growing up as a kid. He didn't brew; he was a steam fitter, but it was kind of always a thing of our family. And my dad's like, "But don't do what I do. Go get an education, go do that stuff. And so I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, and just so happened my botany class was like, either you can brew a beer or grow a garden. And I was like, well, I guess I'm brewing a beer. And the bug hit me, and I loved home brewing. And once my wife and I got a house, and the basement was kind of perfect for a homebrew setup, we just kind of went at it. And, leveraging my marketing background, I didn't want to hand somebody just a random amber bottle and they'd forget about it, what it was.
Right.
So came up with Mikerphone Brewing, and it was my two passions of beer and music, and put them together, and here we are. And it's
Now, I have this small little question, because I'm also married. Now, did she feel the same way about the basement being perfect for a brewing setup?
This is a fantastic question. This is great.
it was before we had kids, so our life was a little bit more,
So she was more okay
time.
with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then as a kid, she's like, you're really gonna have somebody over at 7 a.m. to brew a beer all day? And I was like, yeah, I get it. We're not doing that anymore. 'Cause that's the one thing about homebrewing. It takes the same amount of time to brew a 20-barrel batch as it does to brew a 5-gallon batch. It's you have to still go through the mashing process and the boil process, and cleanup is even worse. So it takes up a good full day there. But
Yeah, you can't just spray the floor
No.
and have it go down a drain.
Nope.
The
not
wife
so
gets
much.
really mad if you spray the
Yep.
spray
You
the
know what I
floor.
do miss though about homebrewing was the smell of our house. It's just like you
I
walked
bet.
in, you could just smell the hops, and it was like I miss that smell. And I haven't found a candle yet that replicates that. So Yankee Candle Company, get on it.
Please note you must license this to Mikerphone Brewing.
For people who are listening as opposed to watching the video, which you can watch on Facebook and YouTube, I did in fact finish the Mac. That was, I could go for a giant bowl of that. It would be trouble.
Sure, that's a good idea.
My
You
God,
might sleep
Mikey.
for a week.
Yes, worth it. I'm calling in. That's.
There we go.
It's just when the sauce intermingles with the cheese, and then there's the pork in there, and there's a nice bark on some of the pieces of pork. Wow,
Yeah.
that's dynamite.
And
Thank
you think of Mac as sometimes more like a fall winter dish, or like stouts, the same thing. You drink stouts in the winter when it's colder.
Yeah.
We're both in the same playing field. We're like, nope, it's always stout season. It's always Mac season.
Yep.
It's always okay to consume mass carbs.
Yep.
It's always. I'm a big fan. Mike, I've said this before, and I still believe it. As you're talking about music and brewing, I kind of feel like independent breweries are very spiritually aligned with independent musicians. Just the approach, the way they're marketed, the way their fans and patrons pledge allegiance to the product. There seems to be a lot of overlap there.
100%. It's a lot of DIY. I mean, it's brewing in your garage, or starting your band in your garage. It's a lot of street teams that you have your friends, and schlepping it and getting out there and just doing everything you can to build awareness of your brand. Utilizing social media was a huge factor for us, and I know that's what a lot of small bands do. And now the beauty of a band is that you can record in your garage, and you can put that song out on many different platforms and start building leverage to that, and YouTube and all that stuff. And it's really cool to see that music and beer totally go hand in hand. And we've always seen that, we've always known that, and we're craft beer inspired by music, and I think there's some bands that are inspired by beer.
Oh yes. And let's be clear, barbecue is that's the rock and roll of cuisine.
I think, it's definitely a lifestyle. Right?
What made you say, I'm just doing barbecue? That's my thing. I'm going to specialize in this. I am devoting my life to pit beans and pulled pork.
I have an infatuation with fire. So there's something about cooking over an open flame, which is how we do it. We use a stick burner. There's no shortcuts in what we do, and there's an infatuation with the flame. You're never fully in control, although you think you are, but you're really not. And it's kind of, every cook is different. Every log that you're throwing in is going to react a little bit different, from the way that it ignites to the way that it burns to the way that it forms a nice charcoal bed. Everything's everything's different.
That's the thing I've learned. And Mike, you may have experienced the same thing with your smoker. There's so much left to chance, and there's so much you have to kind of take on in faith. You have to just have faith that this cook will happen in this amount of time. Don't mess with it. And that's a hard thing for people to do.
And it's the same thing with beer too. Patience. Patience is so key in both making beer and in smoking meats. I remember when I got my first stall, and I was like, "What the heck's going on? Why we're not getting to temp? How did it actually dip in temp? What's going on?" Getting through that stall is taking every bit of patience you have, but you got to go trust the process, and you got to let it go through it. And it's rewarding at the end of the day. And just like beer, you wait your few weeks to go through fermentation, and you wait for it to crash out properly, and then package it, and you're like, that was all worth it.
Because isn't there a stall with like...
A lot of big meats tend to stall, and what they mean by stall is the way that heat goes into a big piece of meat is it kind of goes into the center and then bounces back out, right? Well, eventually the meat kind of just balances itself out and starts to sweat. And as that meat starts to sweat, just like you start to sweat, like it cools your body down, right? Well, it cools the meat down also. So we get this like stall that basically cools the meat down, and a lot of people are like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Oh no, what do I do? You kind of wait. You kind of just wait patiently. You can wrap it, and that'll help push it. Some guys, what they'll do is right before they know that the meat's about to stall, normally stalls right about like 165, 175. What they'll do is they'll start raising the temperature of their smoker so that it helps push it.
I've been that guy.
So it just helps push it at that point.
What really heartens me as we're sitting here, again, the barbecue trailer's in front of us, Mikerphone's right behind us. I'm watching a steady flow of people walking out with product from Mikerphone. I'm watching people line up in front of the trailer. I love seeing independent business not only come back from this shit show we were in, but just thrive. This is exciting to watch. Sit from this neutral perch and see you guys doing business here in the industrial section of Elk Grove Village. I love it.
Yeah, it was hard, when we couldn't have interaction, we couldn't have customers here. We really kind of struggled coming to work every day. It was just like a monotonous, all right, we're just making beer and this and that. We built 2 tasting rooms and a patio to have that energy, to get instant feedback, to kind of just to see our crowd and be with them. When we didn't have that, it was really tough. And then when we couldn't have food trucks out, we couldn't have partners out here to do events. It was just like, what are we doing? This is not what we set out our business to be. And so the minute we could have customers back out, it was like, all right, here we go again. And it feels so much better every day to come in and be like, all right, now we got it. Let's go.
I love it. All right, so as far as Mikerphone goes, you've got a big week going on. Beer-wise, what's on the menu? What's exciting? What should people come in and
The most exciting thing about Mikerphone right now is that we have the most diverse menu we've ever had in our existence. When we first started, we were making hoppy beers and stouts and fruited Berliners. Now we've got several different lagers and pilsners, including one of my favorite beers right now is an Italian-style pilsner that we made.
Is that the jagged little pill?
No, it's called Hey Mambo Italiano.
Okay.
My in-laws are Italian, so actually if you look at the label, you'll see 2 hearts on the label, and that's where my in-laws are from. An Italian pilsner is a dry-hopped German pilsner, and so it's got a lot more expression up on the aroma and a little bit more hops to it too. So it's a really good, easy drinking beer, but super flavorful and aromatic. And then we just released 2 bang and barrel aged stouts. And if you come to Mikerphone and you go in the blue room, you can look into the back and you'll see almost 253 gallons filled. The bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
And we've spent a lot of money and a lot of time and space into that project. And as time has gone on, first we're aging only 8 months. Now we're aging 14 as a minimum, up to 20, 24, 28 months. And it's really paid dividends because you're seeing these barrels give you just so much more flavor than you would if you didn't barrel age it and didn't do it long enough.
I was one of those guys. I went in the room and put my hands up against the glass so I could peek in.
Yep. Yeah, we usually if we're back there working, we usually look like zoo animals back there.
But yeah, I'm like, I got a little bit of a glare, so I pushed myself up like I was at the zoo.
Yep. Yep.
Now, as far as what you have going on with the food trailer, what's next for you after this weekend? So people may not see or hear this until after you've pulled up the stakes for Mikerphone.
So we will be on Algonquin Founders Day Fest Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we will also be at Tight Head on Thursday night, pulling double duty. And then same thing with Riverlands in St. Charles. So Tight Head's in Mundelein. We're there from 5 to 7:30. Get there early. We sell out quickly there. And then same thing at Riverlands. I believe we're there Friday, so we're there 5 to 8, and that's in St. Charles.
I love it.
I got to give him a shout out real quick though too. Booking food trucks is a really difficult process. It's a lot to manage, a lot to get them out here, and then there's a lot of times where they cancel on us. They don't do that. Fire and Smoke, they are here. They come every time, and they kill it. And then they take care of my staff. So big shout out to these guys, for sure.
Oh, thank you.
You got to have allies in this business.
Absolutely.
From all corners, you got to have allies. All right, so Mikerphone's website is?
MikerphoneBrewing.com.
And then your website is?
Fire and Smoke BBQ.com.
Love it. Love you guys. This was delicious, and I can't believe we never met musically through the years. I mean, I remember going to see the Room for Squares Mayor show at Shuba's.
We probably did then.
We probably did.
Or probably some, showcases or something that we had to have at some point.
Yeah, I mean, because I was at XRT at the time, and Mayor was coming up, and Latterman was calling me. I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Mikey, thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having
pleasure.
us.
All right, it's Car Con Carne. Thanks for watching and listening.